This is Rena Welsh, wife of line fisherman Alec Welsh. Here in a shed in the back garden, Rena is sheeling mussels, which are used as bait for the 1,200 hooks on Alec's line. The day starts very early for fishing families. Depending upon the tides, the men may have to leave the harbour as early as 4 a.m. in order to begin their day's work. And the women, with the lengthy tasks of sheeling and baiting the lines, must rise equally early. The next stage in the operation is baiting the lines, in this case done by Isabel Welsh, Rena's mother-in-law. Each of the snuds, as the Gourdon folk call these short lines with small hooks attached, is joined to the main line, the back. The women deftly bait each hook, then arrange the snuds in rows inside the weighted container, known locally as a scull. At one time they were made of wicker and lined with grass, but nowadays the sculls are made of wood and lined with newspaper. Now Alec Welsh takes the scull out to the garden for his part of the work. While the snuds are already neatly arranged, you'll notice that the back, that's the heavy main line, is fairly roughly coiled and laid in the other end of the scull. Alec now has to make certain that when he casts his line from the boat tomorrow morning, it will run completely smoothly. To do this part of the job, he must not disturb the snuds, which are attached to the back at 6-foot intervals. Without disturbing them, Alec takes the end of the back and begins coiling, neatly and evenly, a job which takes about half an hour. Each man has his own lines, and just as Alec and his family prepare the lines we have been watching, so also do the families of the other 2 members of the crew. By the mid-afternoon, there will be 3 baited lines, each contained in a scull, and all ready to go on board for the next morning's fishing. The importance of this part of the operation, red in the back as the fishermen call it, is vital to the smooth running of the line which will be cast at first light. In days gone by, traditional materials used for the lines were hemp for the back and a finer hemp cord tipped with horsehair for the snuds. This careful detail of tipping the snuds was generally done by the older fishermen, usually retired, who spun the horsehair onto the hemp because it was thought to float slightly when the snuds were near the bottom. To shoot the line, an anchor is thrown overboard with a marker flag attached and the boat moves off full speed ahead. With this steady forward movement, the lines rapidly leave the sculls, the rows of baited hooks disappearing overboard row by row. Years of practice ensure the speed and accuracy required to have all 3 lines shot in quick succession as one vast line with 3,600 hooks. Speed and accuracy with which the line is shot is matched only by the hard work and perseverance needed for the final stage, hauling in the catch. As the line is pulled on board, it's passed to the man removing the hooks. He sits beside the hatch that leads to the hold so that he can sort out the fish as he takes them off the hooks. He quickly assesses the size and variety, then throws each fish into the appropriate box in the hold. While the main catch is codling, they also land the occasional haddock, plaice, conger eel and crab. These are also kept, as all are marketable. Pulling in of the line is an arduous task requiring strength and stamina to take the strain of pulling the line through 30 to 40 fathoms of water. Occasionally a hook may catch on the bottom and they may have to wait for a slight shift in the boat to free it. They know only too well the true meaning of "it's a long haul." During the earlier part of the season, the men usually fish fairly close to the shore, perhaps a mile out. As the season progresses, however, they gradually go further out, until by May they may be 8 or 9 miles out. Job of clearing the lines has to be done in the afternoon, as this is the line that the women will work on next morning. Each hook is examined, straightened if necessary, and stuck into the car line for safety. Several of the lines lose their hooks on each trip, and these have to be replaced. With his share, each man takes his own line home, piled in an unruly heap in the scull. The task of clearing the lines can at least be done at a more leisurely pace seated by the scull. If circumstances permit, it can include the enjoyment of a yarn with a friend. An extra pair of hands wouldn't go amiss when it comes to picking out the starfish, seaweed and debris that the line has managed to collect while in the sea. Here Alec Welsh carries out this operation just as line fishermen have done for generations before him. The fine linen twine held between his legs on a chair and the loose end round his neck to keep the tension while he works. Alec binds on the new replacement hooks, beaten on once, as they say in Gourdon. How long these old ways will continue is anybody's guess. The three-line fishermen we have been watching seem to be the last in their families, as there are no young people coming up who show an interest in carrying on this tradition or taking up the rigorous way of life it demands.